think Julia and Mary are still letting people in, so I'll wait for them to give me the go-ahead. How are we doing?
Yes, not too bad. You can see the look of concentration, can you?
Yes, we'll wait a moment.
I think that's okay, Janet.
Yes, that's all right. Okay. Well, hello. I'm not going to do that good morning, good evening, good night. It's an endless, you're all here at different hours of your day. But anyway, hello. And today it's going to be a little different. So I have to write down exactly what I'm going to do, because we changed the plan for this morning, and I'll explain why in a moment. So our meditation is going to be at the end of the talk, not at the beginning of the talk, and for very good reasons, because Chris Hurley is going to be leading us today. Chris is from the UK and is very well known for many of you, actually, across the world indeed, and has combined her meditation practice with her practice of yoga and well-being. So I'll do a formal welcome in a moment, but what we're going to have is our reading and opening prayer from Penny and Lorraine, both from Australia, one in Sydney, one in Brisbane. And I understand that they both became novices at the same time in the same place together. So friends together apart, many miles apart, but in Australia. So they're going to lead us into our opening and our reading, and then I will welcome formally Chris. So Penny, over to you, and Lorraine, and if you unmute, lovely, thank you.
O God, come to our assistance.
O Lord, make haste to help us.
Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.
As it was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. Amen.
A reading from John Main, Word into Silence. Meditation is a way of coming to your own center, coming to the foundation of your own being, and remaining there, still, silent, and attentive. The way to that wakefulness is silence and stillness.
That reading actually offers us the welcome to Chris, that coming together to your own being. And we hear John Main many times talking about the need for our settling attentiveness, our whole being ready to be still and to be silent. And this is the work of Chris. And it's wonderful. I think that reading is just a wonderful welcome to you, Chris. So I'm going to hand over to you. And just to remind you all again that Chris will be leading us now and then leading us into our meditation. And then I will thank Chris at the end of the meditation, and then Penny and Lorraine will read our closing prayer. So sit back for the time being anyway, and Chris, over to you.
Hello, everyone. It's an honour to be invited to speak to you, and a pleasure. It's lovely to see so many people I know. I can't say old friends, I'll say friends I've known for a long time. And the rest of you, friends that I haven't yet met. And my thanks to JM and the organisers for allowing me to switch around the normal timetable that you have. And I hope at the end that you'll understand the reason for that. So what I'm going to do is talk a little bit to set the scene, but in a way, Janet's done that for me. And then we'll move the body a little bit. And then having moved the body to wake it up, we'll then come to stillness in our body. And as we come to stillness, we can give attention to the breath. And once we have attention to the breath, I'm sure for almost everyone here, that's when the mantra sounds itself, becomes insistent for you. I don't want to do a lot of talking because I don't want it to be in our heads today. I want it to be more experiential, that you experience what it feels like to be living in this body, to be breathing this breath. As we all know from many years of practice, the mind can do time travel. The mind can go anywhere at any time. And we call that usually distractions. But what's always present now is the body and the breath. So what better way of coming into the present moment than to give attention, loving attention to the body and the breath. So we'll do a bit of moving, as I say, giving attention, experiencing rather than thinking. So I've put on my notes here, I could quote John Main, but the passage I was going to read to you is the one that we've already started with. His insight that to meditate, there are three strands. There's wakefulness and stillness and silence. And I think they're all interwoven. Let me just give you another quote. And this is from St. Irenaeus in the 2nd century. Therefore, he says, the body is not to be excluded from the wisdom and the power that now and ever animates all things. The body is not to be excluded from that power and wisdom which animates all things. What a wonderful inspiration for us not to feel that the body's not important or it's somehow not holy. It's got to be included in that wisdom and power. And he was speaking in the 2nd century. To quote another great teacher in the Christian tradition, deep knowing and presence do not happen with our thinking minds. To truly know something, our whole being must be open, awake, and present. To truly know something, Our whole being must be open, awake, and present. So as we continue, I want to offer ideas and ways for you in which you can bring the body into your practice. There isn't one way to sit, or one posture to do, or one breathing practice. You have to find the way yourself, depending on your circumstances. In the morning, you maybe need to wake yourself up. In the evening, you probably need to wake yourself up. Yes, and you need to wake yourself up all the time. Sometimes, yes, I know what I was going to say. In the evening, you come home from work, it's things going on. You need to settle yourself down. In the morning, after sleeping, your body might feel a bit sluggish. You need to wake up. So these aren't set in stone, the things that I will do. They're suggestions. And then some sort of key ideas of how we're going to do this. And if you listen to the instructions, as it were, this is what I think will be our themes. We're going to give loving attention. In other words, no pain. Don't try too hard to do something. Don't try to achieve something. Just giving loving attention. And also noticing tension where we're holding on and letting it go insofar as we can. So that tension may be in our bodies, but it may be in our minds. And the two are interconnected. We're not two separate parts of us, body and mind. They're, as we understand in modern times even more, the body and the mind are just an integrated whole. So we're going to let go of where we're holding on. And those themes of letting go and not judging and accepting and not trying to achieve and giving loving attention, these are all things that we practice in our sitting, in our meditation. So we're going to practice them with the body, giving those things to our practice. So I think we could start to move. And there are so many things we could do. I've decided just to look at the spine, moving the spine. Please don't be fearful. Just do what you can. Stop if there's discomfort, and do less. They're just ideas. So I think we'll start with our shoulders. And many of us, this is where we hold our tension. So let's just ease them out and bring the shoulders up towards the ears. And then draw them down away from the ears, further down than you would normally do. And up. And down. Noticing how that feels. For most of us, one shoulder's stiffer than another. Notice that. Don't follow the video of, oh, that was from the time I got whiplash and dirty-dirty-da, and we get off on a little distraction. Just notice and move on. And then we could bring our shoulders forwards. This is more tricky. And backwards. And forwards. And backwards. And then let them settle somewhere that feels right. And then we'll add all those together and just circle the shoulders. How does that feel? I hope it feels lovely. Maybe tingling, maybe stiffness. There isn't a right answer. I'll ask lots of questions, but they're questions for you to apply to your own experience. There isn't a right answer. It's asking the question that's important rather than pinpointing an answer. So I've changed the direction. And then we're going to just let go of the shoulders and let them settle. And feel how it feels when you stop. Just the parts that you've been moving. Do they feel like they've just been moving? So then let's move the spine. And if you put your left hand just along the outside, this works whether you're sitting in a chair or whether you're sitting on the floor. Just place your right hand on the outside, left hand on the outside of your right leg. And as you do that, it starts to turn you to look over your right shoulder. So my screen isn't too helpful, but the idea is that you move your eyes, your head, your shoulders, your rib cage, and then slowly move back. So there's lots of things going on. The gaze moves, the head moves, the shoulders, the ribs. And of course, if the shoulders are moving, your arms are moving. So doing that with as little disturbance as possible. There's a single movement, looking over the shoulder, slowly, keeping the gaze on the horizon if you had a horizon. One more to go on this side. And then coming back and settling again. Your hands on your lap. And feeling the difference in the two sides of the body. Feeling the after effects of that movement. Now, the other thing which we can be doing, giving attention to, is not just the parts that move, but the parts that are still. Your forehead. You don't need to furrow your brow to do this. Somebody said when people were joining, talking about people coming in, and don't you always notice when people are there at the beginning, they're trying to work out which button to press, and their face gets, maybe they haven't got their glasses on, and their face gets furrowed up, and their shoulders are maybe a bit tight. That tension that we introduce for no reason. So we're noticing that extra tension if we can and letting it go. So as we swap arms and move the right hand to the outside of the left leg, as well as moving, we can notice if we're starting to tense in our face or tense in our legs or belly. We all have our favorite places to hold tension. So let's attentively turn the head again to the left, shoulders, rib cage, and then come back nice and slowly. And just carry on doing that slowly. You may notice discomforts in your shoulders or neck. If it's distracting you, then do less. Another question is always, am I holding my breath? Because it's not helpful to hold your breath. And then back to the center. And settle. And rest. So that's one way that spine can move. The other way is a sideways bend. And I'd like to start by doing that just with the upper part of the spine. So feel your right ear and move your right ear towards your right shoulder, but keep the shoulder where it is. And how does that feel? It's not very nice, I don't think, but it's not painful. Maybe you all have lovely mobile necks. And we'll try that same side again, just taking the ear to the shoulder. Are you tightening your fingers or holding your breath or tightening your buttocks or shoulders? Shoulders are quiet and heavy. Good. And then coming back to the upright. And then if you're sitting in a chair, drop your hands down beside you. If you're on the floor, then put your hands on your lap so that the elbows are hanging. So what we're going to do next is, as we take the ear to the shoulder, we're going to let the arm, the elbow drop towards the floor. So now that sideways movement goes down the spine and then come back. And do it again. The arms, the weight of the hand is almost, the weight of the arm is almost drawing you to the ground. Gravity is allowing you to move over. Feeling the stretch down one side and that sort of squashing feeling down the other. This is actually very good for your vertebra. One more go. Don't forget the ears moving, the shoulders moving away, the elbows moving down. You might feel a change in the way you're sitting on the chair. You might feel weight shift to one side or the other. I'm feeling a cramp in my foot, which isn't the best thing. Okay, so now we're sitting upright and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we'll start just with the head. The ear moving to the shoulder staying still. And then when you're ready, you can incorporate more of the spine into that movement. Soft, soft in the arms and shoulders. Easy breathing. Feeling what's going on under your sit bones. Checking that you're still breathing. And then come to upright. Now, probably the movement of the spine that we're most focused on when we meditate or when we're sitting is this movement. Right? So I'll go sideways so you can see. And when people that meditation teachers, Father John even says, sit with your spine upright, then what we know he means or doesn't mean is don't be slumping. And if we sit in a comfy chair, this is the shape the back takes, a sort of slump. It's quite nice. In fact, it's so nice you're likely to go to sleep. But if we go the opposite way and we have this sort of a military, tight, chest out, shoulders back thing, we can't really hold that comfortably for very long. So we have to find a way which is the equilibrium of those two. And the best way to find a good space is to look at the two extremes. So where you're sitting, you maybe need to move forward on your chairs. Just move between this, which is all bent forward, the whole spine in a curve, and then this, maybe looking slightly up where the spine is curved the other way. So forward and backwards. And again, it's a lot of the back, all the back can be involved in this movement. Just playing around with the feel of it this way and that way. It's quite frustrating on Zoom with so many people because I can't see what people are doing, but I'm assuming you have an idea of what I mean. Upwards. And having looked at the two extremes, which are not appropriate, we then find somewhere which is. It's neither slumping nor stiff. And I think this sort of thing you sometimes see in yoga books, somebody sitting in lotus and they're sort of in this very rigid pose, and this looks like this and the shoulders look stiff. We have to find somewhere comfortable. We have to find somewhere where our body won't distract us because it's feeling discomfort or diseasefulness. So that probably for a morning where I can't see what people are doing, and that's probably enough for moving. So now, oh dear, I need to get a move on. Now we need to look at sitting. And I want us to start with just settling our hip bones, our sit bones, sorry, onto the chair. So just a little wiggle, feeling one side and then the other, and then settle into the ground, feeling the support under your hips so that you don't need to hold on. The whole torso is supported by the chair underneath you. If you're sitting in a chair, feel the weight of the feet on the floor. The floor can hold you. You don't need to hold on to your legs. You can let go. Rest your hands on your lap. Feel the weight of the hands and wrists and elbows. And especially give some attention to the muscles of the face. The lips gently touching. The teeth slightly apart so that the jaw is released. The little muscles of the face that make up the masks that we wear for our lives, the face we show the world, they can all be soft, quiet. And then gently closing the eyes, feeling the weight of the body supported, tension draining away. Find the breath. Don't interfere with it. Just watch it coming and going. Don't grasp or grab the in-breath. Allow it. Accept the gift. Every in-breath a new beginning. Always beginning. And then the out-breath, the letting go breath. And don't be in a rush to breathe in. Allow the out-breath its full time. You're awake, still, silent. And when you feel the time is right for you, you'll want to direct your attention to your mantra, the sounding of it inside you, the stillness of the body. Ma, Ra, Na, Tha. Come, Lord.
Chris, I'm very reluctant to break the stillness and silence that you've offered us. So it's been a wonderful change for us. And I think most of you will now appreciate why we moved things around in our normal routine. The words that I wrote down before we began our meditation came from Chris, that what is always with us is our body and breath here on earth. And paying loving attention to being rather than thinking, to experiencing rather than thinking. And that sense of our whole being awake and present. So many words that you used, Chris, from John Main. And thank you so much. I think all of us have felt that today's meditation was particularly special. And you brought us to that. So thank you. You can see some smiles all around and some messages coming through as well for you. So thank you, Chris. And I'm going to hand over to Penny and Lorraine in a moment, but just one of my fellow welcomers, Judy Taylor, who isn't with us today because she is celebrating a birthday. So much love to her, and we shall see her in a week or so, her and Paul. So Penny and Lorraine, thank you for bringing us into our time with Chris, and also to Mary and Julia and Alan, that team that bring us together. So Penny and Lorraine, if you could close us in our prayer together.
May the divine assistance remain always with us.
Lorraine, would you like to unmute to end that final part of our closing? Thank you.
And with our absent brothers and sisters, amen.
Thank you to both of you, and I'll hand back to Mary, I think.
That's right, yes. Thank you, Janet. Thank you to Chris. I've got some tips to carry on to my own meditation group, and I'm sure those of us who run groups will probably do likewise. And I think all of us have benefited from your simple suggestions about settling into our meditation. So thank you very much. Thank you to our prayer leaders as well, Penelope and Lorraine. And I look forward to seeing you all next week on Benedict's Well. Until then, have a good week.
Much love to you all.
Thank you, Christine. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.